Everybody get set, let's go. It's the next episode. It's the Premium Pete Show. News, interviews, all of the info. Listen up, it's the Premium Pete Show. If you want the scoop in the low, down low, listen to the show, cause Milk said so. Fuck what you heard, better act like you know. It's the Premium Pete Show.
Internets, welcome back to another episode of the Premium Pete Show. Finally sitting down with one of my longtime friends. Listen, Bun, first of all, I say this every week. I say, look, I'm so excited to sit down with, my guy, my friend. This is my guy. This is my brother from another.
You're friends of ours, Pete.
Listen, forget about it. Listen, right off the bat, okay, you're eating healthy now. We just ordered some vegetable curry.
Just all veggies.
What's it called? Vegetable curry noodle
Vegetable
soup?
curry noodle soup and a hot Japanese broth.
Well, why are you eating healthy now? Is it?
I saw this movie. Somebody, I don't know why or how this happened. Somebody told Queen to watch this movie called What the Health.
Mm-hmm.
And we watched it, and it's one of those things where once you see it, you can't unsee it. Right? Like when fat people go swimming, you just can't unsee it.
You can't unsee that dive.
No,
in the cannonball.
it's done. It's embedded. And that's kind of what this is. And I've seen other things. I've, tried other diets like I'm going to get it. But normally when people first start trying to lose weight and shit, it's for other people, right? It's for, I want to lose weight for this, I want to lose weight for that, maybe for an event, like a class reunion, pool party, some of that goofy shit, right? So it's a temporary situation. I want to get healthy for this thing. So I look good when I go to a Drake pool party or, you know what I'm saying? Some shit like that. Watching this movie makes you want to get healthy for yourself. Like that's what happened with me. My wife wanted me to get healthy. My friends, different people. But when I saw this movie, it was like, okay, I'm good. It's the same thing like when I saw The Insider, right, with Russell Crowe and Al Pacino. It's the movie that talks about Dan Rather and everybody exposing the tobacco industry, the memos, and knowing that the shit was unhealthy and killing people. Well, that's kind of what this is, right? You see a movie and you realize what certain foods are doing to you, and I'm not going to get into it with you. I don't want to spoil your appetite. You have a very robust, hearty appetite in this world, and I would hate to see you just have to walk past the San Gennaro Festival because you can't have meatballs and all of this because Bun spoiled the party.
No sausage and peppers over here.
Yeah, but I will say, man, like, once you do see this film, you're going to have to take a lot of, for me, I couldn't, like once I saw this movie, I just couldn't eat certain things anymore. No. And I'm fighting hard against it, right? Like the meat and the chicken is a wrap.
Yeah.
The seafood, like I've tried to bite a fish here, there. I can't eat like a piece of fish, right? Like we ordered some salmon, I took a bite and I was like, it's just subconscious, like you know better than, you shouldn't really be eating anything right now. It's just about the human as an animal species, not necessarily being equipped to, handle dairy that isn't from another human, right?
Sure.
Trying to process this animal dairy and eating these food. Look, I don't want to turn this into an anti-food podcast or whatever. But for me, I'm just cutting certain things out of my diet and other things completely out of my lifestyle to just be as healthy as possible, give myself the best fucking chance I can.
Health is wealth, and a lot of times we say that but don't live that. I think when you get older and you start getting, into, even I would say when people start getting into their 40s, some people either learn it or they drop. You think about how many people we lost in their 40s when they start getting people.
Right.
Just could be sleep apnea, could be overweight, could be eating wrong.
I
remember one time you told me something about even like smoking weed. Like when you smoke weed all the time for years, like do you feel like that does anything on somebody's lifespan?
I think it depends on how you're taking the weed in, and obviously everybody's got a different physiological reaction to things, right? Like if I smoke a blunt, you might make me paranoid. If you smoke a blunt, it might make you chill, right? So everybody has a different physiological reaction to this shit. But I will say the way we take in weed, right? Like weed by itself is fairly clean, and it's not really damaging per se in the long term or like thing. I mean, you talk about memory loss or whatever. You get older, you're gonna lose your memory anyway.
Exactly.
But yeah, no, the blunts are definitely the blunts and the wraps, and I'm sure that's a problem. I'm sure some of these non-organic or some of these random ass rolling papers are definitely not the best. So I'm just trying to, just. What was that about?
Cool.
You two passing notes.
Me and Queen are passing notes.
Are you kidding?
No, it's all right. It's all right. She's.
I know. I don't even have to tell me. I know. You don't have to tell me.
So saying about health as well, like I said, now that we, are starting to care about our health and not be young and we think about it. When's the first time you even smoked? Because you've been smoking for a long time, man. When
Yes.
I'm
44 now, so
Okay.
I've been smoking for 28 years. My first.
Do you remember? Take us through the first time you ever
First
smoked.
time I ever smoked weed, it was just like a spring break vacation. It was like the 10th grade, my 10th grade year. So this would have been like, I guess, 89. And I'm at my brother's house for spring break, and him and his friends are playing dominoes or whatever, and they're passing this like really rough looking thing around, right? Like I didn't really understand what it was, and it was a backwood. They had rolled up weed in a backwood. This was, like I said, this was like 89, and they were passing it around, and then I don't know what happened. Somehow I got it, and they let me hit it. I don't think my brother was in the room because my brother wouldn't have let me do some shit like that at 16, but somehow I got a hold of that thing and hit it and got very sick. I was like, this is like, because I didn't naturally like tobacco and shit like that. And, but I just remember like being really loopy, but then also very dizzy as well. So my first time smoking weed, I'm not really sure if I even got high. I know that my body didn't react like it does now when I smoke a backwood full of weed, you know? But yeah, I definitely remember that, man. That was in Braves Court Apartments in Houston.
It's a long time ago, Listen, you grew up mom and dad. Did mom and dad live in the same house?
For the early years, my parents had actually separated before I was born, and they got back together when I was born, and they stayed together until like my 5th grade year, so probably until I was like 9.
What did mom do?
Mom was a nurse. That's pretty much all my mom has done is like nursing, I guess. Now that I think about it. It's like nursing. So she
What
went
about
from
Pops?
more of a... Pops back then was a foreman for the railroad, and then got into like a bar fight, and dude like cracked a pool stick across his back, and then had like back injuries from then, and ended up moving into like basically landscaping and painting because he didn't have the physicality to go back into that kind of strong labor.
Whatever happened with that guy who hit him with the fucking
I have
poster?
no idea. I know they were trying to sue or something, but they didn't. I think my dad started it, so he couldn't really. Because my dad, that's another thing about my dad. He was also, I come from a very interesting family because
What do you mean when you say that?
well, my father's side of the family is very religious, but my father isn't. So he is now. He's been born again and he's a pastor. But my father was, in his younger years, like his father, because my grandfather was a criminal. My grandfather died in prison. And my father was the only one of his kids that actually started doing like criminal shit. So my dad was like a thief and shit when he met my mom, and kind of chilled out when he met my mom. But then my mom's family are naturally wild people. Like they like to play cards, they like to gamble, shit like that. They like to drink, stay up late, talk a lot of shit. But my mom isn't like that. So they were both kind of like the black sheeps of, I wouldn't say black sheep because black sheep means we don't really fuck with you. But they were like the alternative to everything that the houses they grew up in kind of represented.
Now, so dad, was he somebody that, took you out, took you to ball games or,
No. I was the youngest son.
Out of how many?
4.
Four
I
brothers?
was the youngest son. Yeah, all boys.
Damn.
All boys. And so my father's thing was, I guess they realized early on I was built for sports, but I didn't like sports. So I was always bigger than kids my age. I was probably from maybe 12 to 8, around somewhere between 12 and 14, I was the size I am now. Right? So I've been a big kid my whole life. And so they always wanted me to play football and do all this. And like my biggest fear has always been my knees, right? Like something happening to my knee. That's always been like my deepest fear. And so that was something that in the back of my mind I felt like was absolutely good. And they wanted me to be running back because I was a big kid, but I was kind of fast. I'm like, that's a byproduct of being a running back is fucking your knees up, either through the constant pushing or somebody hitting you wrong. So I was like, I don't want to do this. You know what I'm saying? So like, and then when I did actually try to do it, because my dad like, you're going to play football. You're not going to sit around. I tried to play football. I broke my thumb. My thumb is still like slightly dislocated from that. And I was like, I'm not putting this shit on no more ever again. I'm not playing it. My mom was like, leave him alone. He don't want to fucking do this. So then he was like, okay, well, if you're going to go for book smart, you're going to be the top shit.
Sure.
So my old man just kind of impressed that on me. And it was important to him because To both of them, actually, because my father never had more than a 6th grade education. My mother never had more than a 10th grade education. So for them, if I wasn't going to excel in sports or something like that, or back then when I was in high school, ROTC was a big thing, like preparing a kid for a military career. So my brothers were either playing football, doing ROTC, and one of them was doing both. And when they realized I didn't have like a pull for either or, it was like, well, if you're going to hit your books, then you're going to hit them. So I remember my father, when you go in my bedroom now, we still have like, that's how old I am. I'm old enough to remember people going door to door selling Encyclopedia Britannicas.
Really?
Yeah. And I still, in my house, have the full set of my Encyclopedia Britannicas that my dad bought me. You know, my dad bought me for me to, book reports and to study and just to be better educated. I still have all that shit in my bedroom right now.
Now, what is your brothers, what they wind up going to do?
One's currently, two of us tend to stay out of trouble. The other two tend to kind of rotate in and out of prison. One's in prison right now. The other one, if the way he's going, he'll be in prison any day now. I'm just being honest.
Yeah, I don't mean to laugh. But
no, crack is a hell of a drug, man. And these kids grew up in the 80s where, they went, there was the cocaine snorting into the smoking, the lace joints or the primos or whatever you want to call them, the woolies. You know what I'm saying? And then just into full-blown crack,
Have you ever tried to, give them advice?
I've done everything I can do for my brothers. I've tried it. I've tried, like, the good way, like come home from prison, get them, like, a little small apartment close to mom's. Look, just right now, just get yourself together. You don't got to work. You don't got to do nothing. Just get clean, get yourself together, look after your mother. They always fuck it up. Every time my mother lets them have access to the house, then sooner or later they end up stealing some shit.
Yeah.
They stole, one of my brothers stole my plaque, my first plaque ever, my Minister Society gold record.
From the soundtrack.
Yeah.
Yeah. What song was that? How did you get it?
Pocket Full of Stones remix.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but that was because Jive, I was signed to Jive and they did the soundtrack.
Okay. Did you know that they were going to do that?
The soundtrack?
Yeah.
No, I'd never been inside that kind of thing. So they sent us a copy of the script. See, I've been talking to this guy. His name was John. I can't think of John's name right now. God bless this guy. Because he was over soundtracks for Jive, and he and I talked to him and let him know I was a big, film buff and aficionado and just, ran off a lot of different things. So he's like, he would tell me different things, turn me on to different independent films. Him and like Sophia Chang both worked at Jive. So Sophia was the one that really got me into like Japanese, like John Woo and that kind of a thing. So when the opportunity came, he sent me like they sent me a cassette with 2 clips a minute, and they sent me the full script. And the script ended up being changed, so the ending of the movie that I had wasn't the ending of the movie that eventually happened. Like, Kane didn't die originally.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying? But then in the movie, it was like, before the movie came out, they decided to kill Kane to show the ugly cycle of life in South Central and that good people die. You know what I'm saying? But just having that script and having that access was amazing. And then, we did a song and they didn't want to use it. And so we ended up just giving them the Pocket Full of Stones remix. We did another song entirely different for that movie.
Really? And it just
and they didn't want to clear the sample. So we ended up we had already done a remix for Pocket Full of Stones, so they just ended up taking
What was Pimp's thought about being on the movie?
He didn't care about that.
No?
Shit. We weren't in the movies.
No, I don't mean that. Yeah, but it was on the soundtrack.
It was a big deal in retrospect, right? Like, but at the same time, we had bigger fish to fry. This was sort of kind of like placating us because we were upset with the company about the money situation and all that kind of stuff. But that side of it, like the soundtracks and all that, was always like a nice side. And they ended up doing the soundtrack for this movie, The Corruptor's Execution. I mean, The Corruptor, which was Marky Mark and Chow Yun Fat. And for that one, because the guy knew I was really into movies, he was like, yo, we're going to fly you guys out. You're going to sit with the director in the film editing bay, and he's going to play you the scenes of the movies that he wants you to make a song for. And then I was just talking to him because he had directed a couple of other movies. It was his name was James Foley, was the director, and he really came from the merchant ivory side of doing like these real classical high end kind of films. So this end, he was kind of like doing one of these so he can go and get the funding to do like the shit that doesn't make a lot of movies. So he had to do the action movie to get the money for the period piece.
So how does that work? You get like royalties on something like that?
Yeah. I mean, there's mechanicals on that kind of a thing. And if your song's featured in a movie, then you get even more.
Back end and stuff?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Pause to back end, actually.
Yeah, that's a good pause. Yeah. I'll give you an example, though. Like, for the movie Drumline, we rapped to. They actually made a beat out of one of the drum lines that they performed in the movie. They made a beat out of it, and we rapped to the beat. But because of my publishing share, I get, whenever they play the movie, I get paid from the song, and I get paid from the drumline performance because I own a piece of it. So that was always interesting. We used to look at the statements, and we would see drumline playing. They'd be like, "Oh, that's that check," and then the statement come in. You get like $15 because drumline played. No, because drumline played like 20 times that month on Showtime.
ABSCAP you're talking about?
Yeah.
So they send the mail.
Yeah. You get a big check. You don't get nothing. But then in the early days, like I was still in the red, so we would get statements, and I still wouldn't make any money because we owed the record company and we owed publishing.
Even
we had bad publishing deals.
Even taking it back, man, there's so many things to go over. But let's take it back to the first time that you even rap. That you even thought to yourself that like that you could even become a rap,
Yeah.
Like when was that? Where
that
were
was
you?
Summer school. That was around that same summer that I smoked weed, right? So summer school, 10th grade year, getting ready to go into the 11th grade, and I'm in a class with this kid Sylvester Vital. Mm-hmm. Sylvester and I, we were both like honor students and took shit. So our summer class was like an early advanced kind of AP placement type of shit. So, and he was writing rhymes and rapping. I remember this clearly because this was the summer that I remember when Blueprint came out by KRS-One. Boogie Down Productions before. And so I was always a big fan of music, and it was literally, and I've never said this publicly, but it was that album, and it was the song Breath Control, right? That at the like, yo, I wish I could do this.
Sure.
Right? Like, that was when I really wanted to actually be an MC. I've been in love with music all my life and fell into a very deep love with hip-hop music and the culture and rap music. But for that, at that moment, I was like, yo, I really want into this culture. I really want to be a part of it. And Sylvester was in a group, and Sylvester was rapping, but for me, it was like, this was just the dawn of awareness for seeing people around me actually making this kind of music. So like Sylvester was in a group with this kid Frederick Johnson and Randy Johnson, and they were making music. At the same time, the video director, now feature film director, Boomtown, he had started a rap crew in Houston. So he's like a video director now, but he was one of the first like rappers in Port Arthur when I was growing up.
In Texas.
Yeah, well, in Port Arthur, in my hometown. There were still other people, obviously, in Houston. Scarface was DJ Action back then. He was signed to Lil Troy.
Classic.
Stuff like that. So, seeing Sylvester actually write rhymes, I was like, well, I thought you had to be a particular type of person with a particular experience to be able to do this. I thought it was some kind of innate skill that you either had or you didn't. And seeing Sylvester do it made me realize, like, if he could do it, then I could probably do it too. So I came up with my rap name. My rap name was Shadowstorm.
That was your first one?
That was my rap name, was Shadowstorm.
How'd you come up with that?
I have no idea. my first rap name was Shadowstorm, and my first rhyme was called Lyrical Onslaught.
Do you remember how it went?
It was garbage. I barely remember the title of Lyrical Onslaught, but it was just me trying to put a bunch of big words. That's all it was. It was just a bunch of big words. No experience, no content, just a bunch of big words.
Now, even not to get you off track, but even like your voice has always been like a deep, like even like people in hip hop have always known
my voice
has it always been like that?
Yeah. It got very, like, I didn't go through the puberty voice change. My shit just
really.
No, I never had like a squeak or anything like that. It just
you just woke up 15 years old with a beard.
Woke up one day, Mama, I want some breakfast.
Give me some grits.
I'll have Apple Jacks. And then just kind of as I've gotten older, it's actually gotten deeper and deeper as I've gotten older.
So Shadowstorm. And that was the only one? Any other name?
Yeah, after that, after Shadowstorm, it became Bun B Ice.
Bun B, why Ice?
Like, cause Cool G rap.
Okay, there we go. No, that's what I was gonna say to you because
I had those, and there was a lot of initial names: Tommy T, Freddie Ave, Billy B,
Joey Bag of Donuts.
But everybody had those initials. There was that time, Cool C, Steady B, all of that. So I came up with Bun B Ice, but because I really, really was seeing myself, like wanting to see myself as like a Cool G rap, Lord Finesse. Those were the kind of
wow.
Yeah, those were the kind of guys I wanted to be. Big Chubb Rock influence for me. Chubb Rock and Heavy D, rest in peace, influenced me because they were fat, right? They were overweight, but they were very clean.
Yeah.
Their appearance was neat, right? A lot of fat people were referred to as sloppy or dirty because you don't Like you just don't. Your clothes don't fit. There's a different fit. There's a different look. And so, but they were fresh. Heavy D with the Coca-Cola sweatsuits. Get out of it. I mean, it was fresh. You know what I'm saying? And Chubb Rock had more of like the trench coat, hat kind of a loose still, but very, and Chubb Rock even more because Chubb Rock was educated. He had a degree, right? Like he had a college degree.
Smart motherfucker.
Chuck D, college degree. You know what I'm saying? So that's kind of the influence of the guys that I came into. And then Bun B Ice eventually became Bun B.
Why Bun B?
The ice just wasn't working. You know what I'm saying? The ice just wasn't working.
And Bun B is because of your name, no?
Yeah, well, Bunny, my family nickname is Bunny.
Okay.
And so so Bunny became Bun, and then
not Bunny like a rabbit, right?
Yeah, Bunny.
Why?
Like in my earliest years, Bunny Rabbit, because I shake in my sleep.
Really?
Like it's very. It sounds crazy because I don't really say it, but I kind of I basically ball up in the fetal position and rock to sleep.
Really? Yeah. I have a friend that needs a pillow to hold.
Yeah, me. I have to.
Yeah.
She'll tell you. Really? And I have a pillow on either side so that if I turn to the left, I hold that pillow.
So there's like,
if
that's
I turn
money.
to the right, I grab that pillow.
I never knew that, man.
Which is strange because that came later. Like that kind of thing came later because there was never a pillow between me and Queen.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden it's like this.
Queen thought you were humping her.
Well, Queen thought it was. Queen's like, what's this barrier? Because in her, it's like a physical barrier.
It's like a battleship.
Yeah, like what is this about? But yeah, no, so I sleep weird as shit. And
okay,
and then my friend Sharan Thomas was kind of who thought up the B because his name was Rand T. And so he was like, yo, we're going to put that B on there. So then it became Bun B.
So this is before you even met Pimp. This is before
I knew Pimp, but this was...
How'd you know Pimp?
Pimp's mom was a librarian, and his dad was the choir director at our middle school. So you knew who he was just based on knowing his mom and knowing that they had a kid that was in the school. And they were, they were affluent, They had a nice life. They had a good life. Pimp's family owned 75% of the vending machines in Port Arthur and Beaumont at the time.
Like, what, you mean soda or candy?
All of that.
Really? Wow.
So like all the stock rooms in the mall, like the stock room at Sears and Dillard's and JCPenney's and all that shit. In our Port Arthur Mall and in the Beaumont Mall, and then office buildings that had vending machines. They had all that. Me and Pimp used to go on errands and stuff. And that's how we used to actually earn money for equipment, is that we would go to Sam's, right? In like 1990, go to Sam's buy a shit ton of candy, right? And then go to school and sell the candy at school.
We bounce all over.
And we sold different candy later, but that's another.
That's
another part.
But listen, when I remember you saying that when you were signed,
right?
That I don't remember who you were signed to, but I remember you saying that you were working like on some delivery. Some guy gave you a job. Who was that?
That was a good friend of mine. That was Bo. Bo is an OG in Port Arthur. He's a guy that showed us how to like get into like investments and rent houses and open businesses and something like that. And Bo's a war veteran. You know what I'm saying? Bo lost one of his legs in Vietnam, I think. And just a good friend. He's a good friend of mine now. He's one of my classmates. Well, two of my classmates' parents. But as I got older, in the world and in the street, he was kind of the guy that tried to keep the young dudes from just really being about
that street
life.
Yeah,
like Hov says, start buying buildings, right? Buy rent houses and shit like that. That was Bo's thing. Wanted to get young dudes out the street and diversify them and shit like that. And so when the shit got fucked up, between albums, when we didn't really have we had already went from the first album to the second album. We didn't make any money. We were in the red as far as the business was concerned. So we had to take another advance. But then we arguing with the record company. So they kind of just put us on the shelf for a year because Pimp steady calling Barry Weiss out of his name and shit like that. And so we're just trying to find, like calling him a bitch. Like
the music executive talk about that guy?
No, the president.
Oh, the president
of the record company. Like he called him a bitch.
And then what this guy didn't do
then
nothing.
they just stop off.
Stop
answering the calls. We'll talk to you. Like you call him a bitch in May, and we'll talk to you in January. Like I don't have time for this.
And what were you
taking you off the calendar year? We'll deal with this next year.
But what were you thinking? Because I'm sure that you smelled success.
I mean, to be honest, he was being a bitch about things. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, we still got to live, right? And we don't have, we haven't got to that stage where we have enough equipment to independently produce records for people. I used to ghostwrite for people, do features and stuff like that. But we didn't have all the facilities for that right then. So we had to take it back to kind of what we knew, which was hustling. So I would deliver, soul food dinners and stuff. And then you'd be like, yo, like if I had to go to like the project, somebody order like a hamburger or something and go drive, it would literally be like corner boys. It'd be like, yo, we hungry. Nigga brings 2 cheeseburgers and some fries. So the thing would be,
allowed.
yeah, and but don't, they were just saying, tell Bun to bring it, right? So that was the thing, just, I want this and that, and tell Bun to bring it. You know what I'm saying? So then I would bring it in, cats would be like, you got trees? You got some? Yeah, I got swishers 3 for $10. I got a couple of dimes. If you need more than that, you got to hit Pimp and Leroy, because I only kept minimal on me. And if dudes wanted like a half ounce, an ounce, or something like that, then you'd have to call like Pimp and Leroy to go get that. But I was hustling like blunts, because it's really a southern phenomenon, really more Texas than anything. But we used to have like blunt houses.
What the fuck is that?
That's where people go and buy pre-roll blunts.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Which sounds crazy, right? Absolutely, that's where the name Swisher House comes from.
So that's how it got created from that?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's what it was. That's where the record company name comes from.
Wow.
Swisher House Records comes from Swisher Houses in Houston.
Wow. You speak about influence. It's funny too, because we know each other for years. Have a great friendship with each other, and it's funny to.
It's a brotherhood.
Exactly, but sitting down here and learning some things, I never knew Lord Finesse and KRS-One. When you were becoming an artist in Houston, did you want to be, the best in Houston, or you just wanted to be the best, like, out of everyone else you've seen? Because I had no idea that, I was always thinking that you were influenced just by Houston. You know what I mean? At the time.
My thing was...
Not always, but in the beginning.
Yeah. No, my thing was, because I'm a lyricist, right? So the only frame of reference for lyricism at the time where I was Face, right? But let me take that back. Back then, it would have been Face. It would have been OG Style, rest in peace. E from OG Style, and probably Rick Roy from Raw Flush. So it was very minimal influence at the time. As I got to know them personally, they became much more influential, speaking directly into my life. And that's why if you go from Super Tight to Riding Dirty, there's such a jump lyrically, because I'm getting to know Scarface as a person. I'm getting to build with him, bounce ideas off, rap around, freestyle, being around people like Big Mike, people like 3-2, rest in peace, being around Rick Roll and those guys, testing my metal with real MCs, right? Not just writing songs, testing metal, and it kind of helped me get to that level I wanted to be. But initially, yeah, I just wanted to have, if I ever met like a Big Daddy Kane or Rakim or, somebody like that, or KRS-One, and then like I'd be like, hey, I'm Bun B, I'm a rapper. I just wanted them to be like, yeah, I know who you are. You're nice. You're good with it.
Sure.
That's all I wanted.
Respect.
Because in 92, nobody was rich from rap.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying? Even people that were selling
clout.
records weren't necessarily getting rich, right? They were making money, but nobody was really rich back then. So it was really about, respect and for lack of a better term, props.
Yeah.
It was really about being
Who got
able
the
to,
props? Remember that?
Yeah, and so, which, years later, I ended up meeting people. Like meeting Big Daddy Kane before we performed that Summer Jam with Hov. And, him, his son being this huge Pimp C fan. And then Pimp C trying to explain to Big Daddy Kane's son, like, how Big Daddy Kane, like, if there's no Pimp C without your father,
Who was the first person to bring you to New York? Was it Nori?
No, Nori's the first person to take me probably into...
You and Pimp, no?
Yeah, probably the first person to take us into... like their projects, like straight up projects. We were good friends with Lord Jamar, still are good friends with Lord Jamar. So Lord Jamar would take us into Brooklyn, would take us to weed spots off Washington Ave and shit like that. Our first time coming to New York was, Pimp came in high school on like a band trip. And they went to like Sylvia's and shit like that, some tourist type of thing. But our first time coming to New York as men was to sign our record deal. And then
With who, Jive?
With Jive. And then like while we were up here, like Pimp was like, let's go to Harlem. And I'm like, okay. So we call a cab and we get in the cab and it was like, take us to Harlem. And he's like, where? I'm like, I don't know, just take it to Harlem. So the cab literally takes us and drops us off on 125th in Amsterdam. Drives like, welcome to Harlem, and just drives off. And
what a
Pimp was like, this is tight. So Pimp was like, yo, let's go get a haircut. The barbershop is always the heart of the hood. Let's go. So like we went to a little barbershop right there, talked to dudes. Who's y'all? Where y'all from? We from Texas. We make music. What's your song? Tell me something good. Ain't never heard of that, B. It's all good. You know what I'm saying? Like, yo, so we like, yo, where the good food or where the trees at? Like, yo, the good food is across the street, little Jamaican spot, wing spot, whatever. And then the trees is at the record store around the corner. Like, and we just on the, like, literally on 125th in Amsterdam on the block. Walk around, got the haircut, didn't get robbed, God bless. Went got some food, went got some tree, hung out on the corner, and then, you know, found another cab and went back into the city. We did the same thing, by the way, our first time when we went on the West Coast. We like went to Oakland and then called the cab and said, take us to Vallejo. Like, take us to Vallejo. We want to go to, and then we found out where 40 Studio was. Just had a cab take us to Vallejo.
E40? So Pimp liked Lord Jamar.
Loved.
Yeah, why?
Loved.
Because I know Pimp didn't like a lot of people. No,
but it's just genuine people that are very genuine, right? Lord Jamar is who he is, right? And he was very open. And I don't know, man. Jamar just really kind of walked us through this New York lifestyle in a certain way. And he was probably the person we least expected to embrace us. So I think we met him in front of the hotel on Columbus Circle, like the Radisson in front of Columbus Circle, just on some random shit. And we ended up meeting Keith Murray as well in front of the Jive record offices. Keith Murray actually took us to Grant's Tomb back in the day.
Really?
Yeah.
Classic.
You know? And
Pimp like Keith Murray?
Loved him. Genuine dude, you know? And
who else could you remember that Pimp loved? Like really had a in
Branson.
hip-hop? Really?
Branson was a very good friend of Pimp's.
Really?
Really.
See, I would never figure that.
Branson was, they were very, very good friends. And every time I ever talked, I remember when Pimp was locked up, I would come up to New York every now and then, and Branson would be like, how's your brother? How's he doing? Tell him, send him my love or whatever. Just meeting Branson was an amazing experience, just the dynamic of who he was. So we met Branson in the 90s when Branson was still Branson.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying? You just meet this big brolic cat, and you're in the trap, but you're not. It's like, it's the calmest I've ever been. I hate to refer to it as a drug spot, but it's the calmest I've ever been, like doing a transaction or something. Like we stayed there for hours. We sat in Branson's for like 2.5 hours and just looking at all the 8x10 glossies up in the spot. He's got a Dionne Warwick signed 8x10 glossy up on the wall. And I'm like, y'all smoke the same weed Dionne Warwick smoked. This is cool. You know? But that was a really good friend of his in hip hop. DJ Paul from 3 6 Mafia.
Yep.
Was a really good friend of his. Big Gip was like a brother that still is a brother to us.
You know, you did Sipping on Some Scissor with 3 6 Mafia, right? And, I know Scissor is something so big in Houston. You know, as you're older now.
It's big every now.
No, I know.
But it's because of the records we make, right?
But looking back now, is that something that you ever say like, because did you fuck with Scissor like that back then?
Yeah, I did. I sipped it until I realized it was eating away my stomach lining, and then I just had to kind of to give it up on my own terms. But I mean, you asking, do I feel a certain kind of way? Do I think maybe we were wrong in judgment? I don't know, man. It's people make songs about, you listen to rap music and somebody's getting shot probably in 1 out of every 3 songs.
Sure.
But that doesn't make every person go out and shoot somebody, People talking about selling drugs, doing all these things. I beat a bitch up or whatever. That doesn't make. So I can't say that every record is influential and makes people do something, but if somebody told me they started sipping syrup because of my song, I would have to, I'd have to own that.
Yeah.
I would have to really own that.
I mean,
but again, we spent a long time not even saying what it was. Right? When people would ask us what scissor was, we would just say like liquor. We're just talking about liquor. We wouldn't dry snitch on ourselves. And then eventually somebody said it in like an interview of what it actually was, and then it became this thing. But no, I remember when I was sipping scissor. My friends, people that still sip now to this day, but weren't sipping then, used to look at me crazy. Like, what are you doing? Like, what is that? Like, it's medicine. Who wants to get high on NyQuil? Like, kind of a thing.
I don't know. Just being from New York, I never tried it, but
it would technically maybe go against the lifestyle.
Yeah.
Here.
Yeah.
Right? It's not for everybody in the South, depending on how you move.
But what's the Jolly Rancher for? Like,
just to make it a little sweeter and give it a little flavor. Okay. It's just like, like grape flavored NyQuil. Just they try to make cherry flavored NyQuil, right? They're trying to make that, take it taste a little bit.
I'll tell you one thing, but that song,
like a spoonful of sugar helps the medicine go down.
That's
Mary Poppins for you niggas.
The first time I heard that song, Sipping on Some Scissor, it was like, I remember your verse was like, you mentioned all these Italian guys. Like, what was it? Like Paulie and Vito and all that. I was like, what the fuck is Bun talking about? You know? But, you know, even, let's go back for a second, even when Pimp. You spoke about knowing his family owned vending machines. What did he think of you? What did you think of him the first time you met each other?
We didn't like each other.
I remember you saying that.
No, I mean, the first time we met each other was kind of us, like him trying to call me out on my shit or what he felt was my shit, right? Because like I said, I was always a big kid, right? I've had a beard since like probably 10th grade. So I would be able to buy 40s for niggas, you know what I'm saying? Like, I was able to get in clubs and shit like that at a very young... Any club that was 18 and up, I could get in because I looked at least 18. And so I would go to these clubs, and there would be, every now and then, I wouldn't go a lot. Like, I probably went like maybe 3 times in my high school. But there was, was access to things that people couldn't see. And there was clubs in Houston while I'm in Houston on spring break type of situation, right? So one night there was like Eazy-E and everybody had came, and it was like Eazy-E and... like 2 of the guys who ended up being in like Above the Law and DOC and all that, and they're like taking pictures, up against the backdrop in the club with the Polaroids or whatever. And so they're taking like a bunch of pictures, like several pictures. And so I snatched one, just kind of like boom, like stole one, basically, just to be honest. I had some sticky fingers when I was younger, just being real.
5-finger discount.
Yeah. I'm the reason why they started putting cassette tapes in the plastic.
With that
joint,
thing on it.
With the thing on it, because that was me. I was beating them up. But so I had been telling Mitch, like, yo, I was at the party, I just saw Eazy-E and all of them, whoop, whoop. And every time I would tell Mitch, like, yo, I just heard this new song, and Ice Cube's in another group and all that, because Ice Cube originally was illegal, and then he got with NW, all this stuff. And so, like, we're at the football game, and I'm there, Mitch is there, and Pimp is there, and we're talking. I'm like, yeah, I saw Eazy-E. And Pimp was like, yo, stop lying. You keep telling all this, you just be lying and shit. Like, don't nobody believe what you be saying and shit. And then I pulled out the picture, and he was like, wow, And then, like, Pimp had a reputation for, like, being a rapper and having all this equipment. And Pimp C got all this shit. He got drum machine to keep out there. Man, nobody got that shit. Who can afford drum machines and keyboards and make music in their bedroom? Nobody's doing that. We're in Port Arthur. It's like 40,000 people in this town. It ain't that many vending machines. Niggas ain't buying that many M&Ms, And went and met the nigga, and lo and behold, this man had all this equipment in the house making music. And from that point on, we ended up being closer with each other than our mutual friend, which kind of happens in life. Because I'm sure I met you through somebody, and now I'm probably closer to you than the person I met you with.
Isn't UGK, he was doing it with somebody else before?
Yeah, that's the guy, Mitch. That was their mutual friend. So, and this is like, again, this is sophomore year in high school. This would have been Pimp's freshman year and his partner's sophomore year. Because his partner and I were in the same class. Yeah. So that's who UGK initially was.
Why do you leave Mitch and
Well, what happened, UGK ended up joining with a group that I had at the time with a kid, Jelon Jackson. So we were the PA militia. So we joined up with UGK, and we became 4BM, the 4 Black Ministers, but Menace NACE. So that became the group, and then when we started submitting demos, like actively making music as the group, one of the songs was Cocaine in the Back of the Ride, which ended up making the album. And there was another version of Tell Me Something Good, but I don't think Jelon was on that. I think maybe Mitch would have been on that, but I don't know if Jelon was on that. But we ended up playing some music for this guy, Russell Washington, in a flea market in Houston. And he was like, I like this song. Let's Tell Me Something Good. I really like this. I want to fuck with y'all. So we're sitting there. We're a 4-man group at this time, though. And we're all in high school. And Mitch is like,
and the name of the group is Underground King?
No, the name of the group is still 4BM. We're still 4 Black Ministers. And at the time, Mitch is like, look, I just got a scholarship to Prairie View A&M for football. I'm finna go chase that. That's going to be my dream, to be an athlete, And Jelon is a junior getting ready to be a senior. He plays football. He's like, yo, I need to concentrate on this football shit so I can get a scholarship like Mitch just got. So eventually it just ended up being just me and Pimp. And so we went back to that UGK name that original Underground King's name, which I always thought was a cool name. Because we didn't have a name.
Who came up with that?
I'm not sure who came up with it, to be honest, who came up with the name Underground.
And even thinking of the acronym, you know what I mean? Like
UGK, yeah.
Like how did...
I can't say, honestly. I can't say, because that would have been a part of something that happened between Pimp and Mitch, if I had to guess.
And did Mitch ever get into the NFL or...
No. Mitch went to Prairie View University, and they went 1-22.
Fuck, he should have stayed.
1-20. They went 1-21 in their first two seasons of expanding the football program and giving scholarships away. They won one game in 2 years.
Shouts to Mitch.
Shout out to Big Mitch, who I still talk to all the time.
No, definitely not.
You'll actually see Mitch speaking about the early days of UGK on the new season of the Netflix rap Hip Hop Evolution.
Okay,
so
really?
There's a Houston episode, and then they actually came to Port Arthur. So I took them to Port Arthur and showed where we originally first started.
I want to go on a break. Before I go on a break, I want you to explain for the people who don't know, what is it like in Port Arthur?
Port Arthur is a very small industrial town, right? The main business in town is all refineries. Spindletop, which was the largest ever, single biggest producing oil well, is like 20 minutes away from where Port Arthur. So we're sitting on just millions and millions and millions in natural gas and oil in Texas. The Saudi group just bought like the Valero group and all the groups that drill in our area for like $2 billion.
Wow.
So that's kind of, but if you don't work in that industry, then you probably work in service. You probably, work at a hospital or work in a mall or work in retail or something like that, work at the schools or something like that.
Is it a lot of poverty over there?
Yeah. I would say, yeah, probably proportionate to most rural towns in America. But
successful people, too, out of there. A lot of people don't know.
Yeah, we've had Janis Joplin is from Port Arthur, Texas. Robert Rauschenberg, the artist, is from Port Arthur, Texas. Bun B, the recording artist, is from
Pimp C
is from Port Arthur, Texas. DJ DMD, Steven Jackson, Elandon Roberts was just on the Super Bowl winning Patriots team.
TAT,
the Babineau brothers. I mean, who? The running back for the Chiefs,
Jamal
Charles. Yeah.
Yep. Hey, listen, there's a lot of people from Port Arthur. Is it
Jerry Jones also?
Jerry Jones?
Yes.
The Dallas Cowboys owner?
Yes.
Really?
When we were younger, when the Cowboys were winning, they used to do watch the mic, pause. They used to do like a big roast every year for Jerry, like this big thing at the house, like one hotel we got at the Holiday Inn, and literally you would have like Michael Irvin and Emmitt Smith and Torrey Aikman and all these guys in Port Arthur, Texas, like one day. And it'd be funny because you would hear about Irvin like going in the hood looking for dope and shit, like
with a mink on.
Crazy shit,
Sick guy. Hey, listen. Get yourself. You're not doing backwards anymore. What are you doing? Fanta leaves?
Unfortunately, I'm still a swisher guy.
Okay,
yeah.
Listen, internet, get yourself a swisher. Okay, roll it up, light it up. We're gonna go on a
quick. Can we smoke in here?
No, we may have to go to the smoke room. Internet, we're taking a quick break. We're sitting here with my brother, the one and only Bun B. Queenie's in the house.
Forget about it.
We'll be right back. Cheer.
Yep, Charlamagne the God here. The Prime Minister of pissing people off, the ruler of rubbing you the wrong way, the architect of aggravation. And right now I'm with my guy, my man Premium Pete, on the Premium Pete Show, okay? Internets, tune the fuck in. Peace.
Internets, and we're back, sitting here with my guy, Big Bun B, the one and only. Okay? Not what was that name you said?
Bun B Ice.
And the other one? Shadow
Storm.
We're not sitting here with Shadow Storm no more.
No.
Let me ask you something personally. Your favorite UGK album? Is there? Can you pick one?
They're all important for different reasons, right? So I can't say which one was my favorite because there's different experiences to all of them. If I had to say one was, maybe Underground Kings, the double album where Pimp C comes home from jail, right? Because up until then, you're not really sure what anything is going to be, right? But in that case, I already knew what was going to happen when we got back together and, started making the music again because we actually had a higher profile after he came home from prison than before he went to prison, and the music industry had a better understanding of what it is we do after he came home from prison as opposed to before. So I already knew what was finna. Pimp comes home at the height of this H-Town takeover, right? Where the world wants to know everything about the lifestyle that we've been talking about for years. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, I already knew we're out of here. You know, if they let us make the album that we know to make and kind of sum up everything that everybody's already been saying, right? Put that exclamation point at the end, so to speak. And they did. And the album literally debuted #1 on top of the Billboard 200s, not the Heat Seekers or hip hop R&B, like #1 album in the country in any genre format.
Well, and how did you celebrate that? Were you able to take a chance to congratulate each other on that? Or because sometimes people don't really, they go through their victories and
that we got to celebrate together. We eventually ended up getting the Grammy nomination, and that, which was something that had been a lifelong dream of his, but he didn't live to see that. But that was like his last stroke of genius, was creating the song against everybody. The song in question is Players Anthem, International Players Anthem.
with Outkast.
And so this was a song that shouldn't have even been done, but he was so adamant about it being done.
Why?
Because it was, so when he was locked up, one of his favorite albums while he was locked up was a Project Pat album. And on that album was a song called I Choose You, which was basically the same beat that we have for Players Anthem. So when Pimp comes home, and it's a fun story to tell. Pimp comes home, and we go and see, like, we're just getting back to around everybody. And so, like I said, DJ Paul is one of Pimp's best friends. And so when they get back together, we start talking about the Underground Mafia project, which was something that was supposed to happen before Pimp got locked up, which was Underground Kings and 3 6 Mafia coming together as a group to be the Underground Mafia. So Pimp is like, man, what was jamming, man, was that project, that song, man, that Pat song, I Choose You. That was a hit record, man. Why y'all ain't, Goofy said, well, I was an independent project. We wasn't really, machine or anything like that. He was like, yeah, man, but that's a hit record. Y'all need to put that motherfucker back out. You know what I'm saying? And he was like, man, you can't put the record back out. That's, we got new music we own from there. He's like, yeah, but that beat, man, that beat was a hit, man. That beat need to come back out. It's a hit record, And he was like, man, well, it's already gone. Pimp was like, man, can I have it? We'll pay you for it, because we got a budget. You know what I'm saying? We got a nice budget when Pimp comes home. And they're like, but you want the same beat? Pimp was like, yeah, I want that same stuff. If you're going to pay Pimp, because it wasn't a money thing, right? But we had a budget. We was going to get our homies paid. And he was like, man, but we can make you a fresh beat from scratch, some hard shit. Man, I want to rap to that beat right there. So they eventually, they gave us the track, and we wrote to it, and they wrote to it. And but their version, their rapping never came out because the label wouldn't clear it, because they were going through contract negotiations based off of 3 6 Mafia winning the awards.
So they were supposed to be on
the song
as
well.
What is it?
International
Players Anthem. Now let me ask you, how did even Outkast come into?
They heard it on samplers.
What?
They both heard it separately on, record companies used to put out album samplers, and it was All-Star Game in L.A., and they passed the samplers out, and Big Boy and Andre both got them separately, and both wanted to rap on it, and ended up laying verses. And
did they call you or Pimp?
They called me. They both called me separately.
And what did they say?
It's like, I like the beat, I want to rap to it, but Big was like, I just want to rap to the drums. So mine can stand out different. I just want to rap to the drums. And Andre was like, I like it, but I just want to rap to the loop. I don't want no drums underneath. So that's why you see Andre at the beginning just rapping over the music, and then when Big Boy comes in, the beat drops out, and he's just kind of rapping over the beat. It was just these little touches that they kind of wanted to do, so we bookended the song with it. And because they were Outkast as a group, even though they weren't actively recording at the time, as a group, they were still signed to Arista, which was now under the Jive umbrella, so we don't even have to clear it because it's in-house. All they have to do is, agree to it, which they did, and record it. So now we don't have to worry about calling the record company and clearing it or none of that.
Sure, so that was easy to get out.
Yep.
Now, let me ask you something. So with Outkast, they'll call you tell you they want to get on the song. But Pimp like Outkast? Like, did he like?
Yeah, no,
something?
we were all long friends. We'd known each other for a while because we both lived in Atlanta. So I lived in Atlanta in '95. Pimp moved up probably about, I don't know, maybe 98, 99, something like that. I can't really remember. And but yeah, no, they were always good friends of ours. Pimp was extremely close with Sleepy Brown from Organized Noise Production.
Okay. Now with it's funny because you say that like Outkast gives a call, but then you think about like somebody like Jay.
Right.
Jay calls you, and Pimp don't have the same reaction.
Right. Well, what it was when Jay calls, he wants to do a record with Pimp. The first time Jay reaches out is for, it was all good just a week ago. Okay,
but was it a blocked number? Then he call you?
Yeah, but that's two separate calls.
Okay.
So like the first time Hov reaches out is to get a verse from Pimp, and Pimp's like, cool. Pimp had just built a studio in his new house. He was like, just come to Atlanta, come to the house, And Jay's like, well, I'm not leaving New York because this is the East Coast West Coast beef is going on. So he's like, I'm not leaving New York right now. You have to come up. And Pimp like, shit, I'm not leaving the South right now. So,
sure.
So that never happened. And then Chaka Zulu kind of put us back in contact. Because when he calls me, I don't even really know it's him. It's a block. It's a number that, like, it's an unknown number.
Sure.
And it's a voice. And it just sounds like somebody, somebody like, yo, what's up? This is Jay-Z. And I'm like, stop playing on my phone. You play too much, And then you call back. And
so you hung up?
Yeah. I hung up.
And then they called back.
And we realized it actually was him. And then he was like, we got this song we want to get y'all.
I remember you saying, I remember you telling me, you said, hey, Pimp, he said, who was that? He said, Pimp, that was Jay. He said, what
do you want?
What do you want? Yeah. And just like that, that's how Big Pimpin' came about from that phone call?
It was never, I don't think on anybody's side the song was intended to be what it eventually became. But, I think there was mutual admiration as artists. And
do you think Beyonce had anything to do with that?
I don't know about the call because they were very young in their relationship at that point. But I know Clark was very instrumental in introducing.
Clark Kent?
Yeah, instrumental in just introducing him to that, to the music itself.
Sure.
And then it just ended up turning into that. And Hov is still somebody I can reach out to. He dropped a new joint. I told him, this is. You're right on time because it's kind of a frame of mind that I'm in as well, as a person and as an artist,
Yeah. We're speaking about Outkast. We're speaking about, UGK and Pimp and Jay-Z and yourself and all these people. But one thing that I think I really always valued about you is not only how you've been able to diversify yourself, and I call yourself like anybody I speak to that knows of you or knows, that we know each other. I call you a chameleon. I feel like you're the type of person that can hang out in the gutter streets of Port Arthur, or you can hang out on the stock exchange and high fiving, white boys, or a college dorm and fucking turn it up.
High fives are always awkward for me because people that always want a high five don't really know how to execute.
Yeah, they always miss
high five, right? They're constantly asking for it, but then absolutely miss it. It's always a very, very awkward place I find myself in with the high fives.
Well, we gotta salute the people who do connect good on a high five for sure.
We don't do the low fives.
but brings me to the point to say of how you have embraced so many younger artists.
Yeah.
We could go over so many. People like Big Crit, people like Drake. We could go down the line. Even ASAP. I've been there and seen how much they looked up to you. I remember we came out at a show where they brought you out. It was like Purple Swag, and then they went into
we went and sipping on syrup.
And just watching.
Rest in peace to Yams.
Yes.
Man, that was a good kid.
And even him that day.
Yams actually. I hadn't drank beer in like at least 15, 16. It's probably since I was 20. And Yams had the 40 and was like, OG, drink the 40 with me. I'm like, Yams, I'm too old for 40 ounces, shit like that. I'm not finna be drinking niggas backwash and shit. I'm way too old for that. And he was just, come on, OG, let me drink a 40. It wasn't even about me come on, man, let me drink a 40 with the OG. And I'm like, all right, cool. It was very small things like that made that kid so happy.
Yeah, I remember all those kids. Like,
he had such
Rocky
and such reverence, for what we were doing, man. And like he just wanted his team to be original. He wanted his team to do something that wasn't done and was unexpected, and to stand out, kind of how like we stood out in the game. He had very, very pure intentions for his team, and that's why the movement that they helped to create still lives on in his honor, and they honor him in a real way too, like in a friend way, not like as an artist to capitalize anything, but just as a friend way.
How were you introduced to ASAP?
Through Chase.
Okay,
Through
Chase Infinite, right?
Yeah.
That's a good dude, man. He's done a lot of great things with them, especially with Rocky.
He's been a great mentor to them, right?
Yeah.
He's a good balance to the lifestyle, and then he's very centered. But they wanna know shit, right? Like when you meet those dudes, they wanna know shit. Like put me up on the game, give me the game, let me know what's good, And so they've been extremely receptive to what he's been putting out to them, and I think you can see his energy reflect in what they do and how they move.
Sure. How did the Kodak Black collab come about?
That came just from like, we get people reaching out wanting verses and features all the time. And so I remember Bone hitting me, he was like, yo, Kodak Black want to do a song with you, which I didn't see how he was a fan, but I don't necessarily know exactly where my music impacts people, And so I ended up talking to him, and I like the kid, he got a lot of energy, a lot of energy. And then I realized he was associated with Fat Boy, a good friend of mine who used to work under Khaled, so it's part of this whole Miami, Florida movement where they kind of, everybody's working with everybody to try to make it pop. And they were like, yo, we got this record, but like we can't, it's not like we need you on this record. It was like, if we don't do this record with you, then we probably won't even do this record. And like to the point where they had like 2 different versions of the beat, like his one regular speed, his one double time, like however you want to do it. They just really wanted me to be a part of the project. And I was like, sure, man, and he sent it to me, and I was like, this is not a bad song. It's not me trying to have to do what he's doing or him doing what I do. This is a nice little mutual area that we can meet at, and as long as he's talking about how he do it and I talk about how I do it, and nobody trying to be nobody else. He's not trying to act like he's from Houston. I'm not trying to act like I'm from Miami. He's not trying to act OG. I'm not trying to act like a youngster. It works. It wasn't forced. You know what I'm saying? It was a natural song, a nice groove. Nobody had to get out of their element to do their thing, and that's why it worked. That's why it worked.
Do you feel like your fan base has grown with you over the years?
I know my fan base has grown with me.
Talk about it.
I do my shows now, and like I used to be like, yo, we ready to get fucked up tonight. It's going down. And now I'd be like, yo, ain't it crazy? We ain't gotta watch no kids tonight. We ain't home with no kids. They go crazy. They go crazy for that shit, because that's our reality now. Like, don't it feel good to get out the house? Type of shit. We're gonna have a good time tonight, just us on some old folk shit.
But the cool thing about it is,
if you need work, drop it.
They may have grown old with you, but the younger generation still looks at you. I consider you, and I've said it before, as like an uncle in hip hop.
Well, because I've made myself accessible, right? Like I live in a city that has, for years, been starved of out-of-town talent, right? Like Houston was never really on major tour schedules. We never had a lot of venues for it, you know what I'm saying? And now we have a House of Blues, we have Warehouse Live, we have White Oak Music Hall, all these different places that people can perform music at. And so we get a lot of tours now. And even with like Sasha with Score More, who was like very instrumental in bringing a lot of young talent now, who was big talent like Kendrick and J. Cole and Rocky and all these people to Dallas and Houston and Austin. Like all the hot young talent was being brought to Texas on this 3-city run. You know what I'm saying? Everybody. I remember Wiz Khalifa when he had just sampled the EDM record. You know what I'm saying? He was just a kid with a bunch of tattoos, wanted to know where the weed was. And now he's, his guy literally has the #2 most viewed video on YouTube, like 2.7 billion views type of shit. And it was just amazing to watch all this young talent come through and then see them pop. You know what I'm saying? So for me, I would just show up just so I could kind of be like, I was there when it all started, And it's interesting, different people are connecting with kids in different ways, right? Like you have J. Cole, who's a little bit more mature, right? And you have, a Chance that's just like, there's reservation, but then there's energy. You have somebody like Travis that's like almost all energy. It's all hyperkinetic. And
he's from Houston.
Yeah.
Have you got a chance to talk to him or lend him some guidance?
Yeah. I've tried. The person that really was able to give him a lot of guidance was the homie Big Tony. Big Tony was one of the Trill gladiators that just passed away, and he was like a mentor to a lot of young talent. You know, Tony was a security guy, and that was his thing. Like he was working with a lot of young talent and trying to keep them focused and keep them. So he worked with Dej Loaf a lot, you know what I'm saying, and he worked with Travis a lot. And that's why these young artists kind of were able to maneuver through those first years, those first stages of being really famous really fast, because they have someone that's not just concerned about them physically, but also about them mentally, and just making sure that they're moving right through these spaces. Because Dej had a situation where she switched management, and it was a lot on her, and the dudes was talking kind of crazy and reckless about what they was going to do. So just trying to not only protect her from that, but then also making sure that she feels she's in a safe space to mentally still create art, still go out and do what she needs to do. He was really good at that, you know?
Yeah. Rest in peace, man, to Big Tone, man.
For sure.
You know, even when you look at somebody like Drake, you know, he loves Houston, right? But obviously, you know, he definitely has so much love for you. I mean, I've seen it. They called me up when my son was born, okay? You didn't know this. I mean, you know now.
Okay.
But no, you knew then too. But I mean, they called me up when my son was born. They called me up like, yo, we want to fly you out to Houston. They were trying to put together, Drake is doing a Bun B, celebration for HAW,
which was crazy,
right? So they brought out me, your publicist, a friend of ours, Roberta McGreeny.
Right.
They brought out Jeff Sledge. They brought out your fucking your high school teacher,
high school English
teacher,
Mr. Agnew.
Listen, okay.
Which I mean blew my mind, right? Because I had talked about him before. And just the fact that they'd asked me in Texas Monthly, which I can't think of this lady's name, but I mean, just an amazing writer. She had no frame of reference on hip hop, no frame of reference on me. And Texas Monthly's like, we need you to do this story on Bun B. And so she just, in the midst of interviewing me, she asked me all these people that, who was influential in my life. And I told her different stories about different people. And Mr. Agnew was one of the people I told the story about. And I don't know how, but this woman found this guy, right? And called him. Was like, yo, I'm doing an interview on this recording artist, Bun B. Do you know who he is? He was like, no, I don't know who you're talking about. I was like, well, his name's Bernard Freeman. He was a student of yours. You're like, okay, yeah, I remember Bernard. I definitely remember Bernard. Like, so actually Bernard's a recording artist, Grammy nominated, sold millions of records. Well, does that surprise you? He was like, actually, no, not at all. You know? Like, just the fact that he could remember me, and then when people telling him I'm successful, he's like, that makes sense. They had to also tell him that I, like, literally was saying that. And then I don't know how they found her, but then Drake and them found her and then found him and flew him down.
Bro, when they picked me up at the hotel, I get in this fucking Escalade. There's this fucking white guy.
See, this is all, I don't know anything about any of this, right?
There's this white guy in the back, and I'm like, who the fuck is this guy? You know, he's like, I'm here for Bun B. I'm like, Bernard, he said. I'm like, who the fuck is this guy? So I'm asking, so I get out of the truck, and I called Roberta and Red, and I'm like, yo, who's this white guy, in the back seat with me?
Really?
Yeah, and then...
This is fucking hilarious right now.
and then finally, they told me, I said, yo, that's Bun high school teacher. So I got... So we went there and we started drinking. Anyway, to make a long story short, just to let you know, and I want you to go into this, just to let the people know, Drake literally walked around, okay, and made sure everything was done correctly. They had a big coloring wall with, him and Pimp and you. Just made sure everybody was okay. I haven't seen him in a minute, and we chopped it up. But the point I'm making
brings tears to my eyes.
No, just took his sweet time and dedication to make sure that there was a special event. Yo, the mayor came out. Who else was there? This comedian, what's his name?
Hannibal Buress.
Hannibal Buress was there, bro.
They told them bring Hannibal. He loves Hannibal.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, it was just amazing.
Bro, they brought the mayor, and I went up to the mayor, and I really thanked her this
is heavy right
now.
No,
I really thanked her for just being. They gave you Bun B Day.
Yeah, it was just a very emotional day. Like, family, friends, everybody that I cared about was literally in one room.
Yeah, that was a special night. But so instead of going off, I want to. How did you even get introduced to Drake? That this guy loves you that much to do that type of thing.
So I'm glad we're going to something fun, right? Because this was kind of heavy for a minute. But no, I was Jazz Prince, Jay Prince's son. I was in the studio. I was recording at the time. So I'm in the studio every day at this point, right? I'm going to Corey Mo on the north side every day, recording. And he's like, yo, I got this artist I'm working with. Wayne likes him. I think Wayne's going to sign him. And we need a verse from you, Unc. We need a verse. I'm like, all right, cool. So they sending me the record. I'm like, this is not a bad record. And so I'm like, I'm going to get to it, but I'm in the zone. I'm on my album. I'm trying to knock my shit out. So like, Unc, we need this verse. We really need this verse, man. I'm like, I got you, nephew. I got you. So I go to the studio, and it's one of those days where I'm pretty productive. Like I'm usually going to do about 2-3 songs a session. If I go in, probably book about 5 hours. I'll try to get like 3 songs done, something like that. This is one of those days where it was just shit was just pouring. And I'm like, yo, this was like, we killed it today. I'm like, I'm done. I'm done for the weekend. We out of here. So I'm getting ready to leave, and my phone rings, and it's Jazz, like, Unc, I need this verse. I'm like, nephew, I just finished. I'm like, I get it to you. Like, Unc, I need it tonight. We getting ready to put this mixtape out, you know.
And that was
like,
so far gone.
Yeah. And so he's like, I really need this, Unc. And I said, fuck it. And I turned around. I went back in. I laid my verse, and I sent it off to him. The mixtape comes out. I think they pushed it back. It was initially supposed to come out like maybe 2 or 3 days after that. I think it took like 5 days for them to really get everything from everybody that they need, and they put it out. And then he does the show in New York.
SOBs.
No, not yet, not there. First he does a college.
Okay.
He does a college in New York, and then he does a college in Atlanta, and the videos start going viral because the girls are singing every song. Like all the crowds are like 95% girls, young college girls. They're screaming at this kid. They're singing every word song for song. Like, it's amazing. Within like 48 hours of the album actually coming out. So Houston's the 3rd show. So I see the first show in New York. The next day the video, YouTube goes up. Crazy, response. I'm telling my wife, yo, this kid's the kid I did the song with. Look at these little girls are going crazy. The second day I'm like, yo, Queen, look at this. This is him in Atlanta. They're going fucking bananas. So he comes to Houston. I convince her to come to the show. She convinces a couple of her friends, ESG's wife, it was Bandit's girlfriend, who's now his wife now, Corey. And they go and they stand in like the pit, right? So because the crowd is crazy. And the stage is kind of crazy. Rap-A-Lot's protecting everything. And she doesn't like when Rap-A-Lot gets like that because it gets kind of, everybody lock in. So they go in the pit, right, between the photographers would go, right? And it's like they're being serenaded by this dude. Like, it's amazing, right? And it's funny because each one of these women, there's 3 women, and then neither one of them are the age group of the audience or each other. So they're all different ages, right? They've all got like a couple of years. Like, my wife is a few years older than her friend, who's a few years older than Corey, who's a few years older than the majority of the people in the crowd. And they're all just enamored and in awe of this young man singing these songs, rapping these songs, like, to them. And I'm looking at my wife, like, and it's like when the cartoon, when the wolf gets the love, like when the animal gets the heart, it's in their eyes, Not sexual, just, oh my God, this is so beautiful. Like, this is amazing. He's such a handsome guy, and these songs are so nice. And it's just amazing to just kind of watch that happen. And I'm seeing it from the first 2 shows, like, it's growing. And then I get to Houston, it's even bigger. And I'm like, this kid's on what we now call a wave,
But you didn't meet him yet.
That was the first time I had seen him, and that you hear it on the song backstage. He says it on one of the songs, like backstage at Warehouse Live, like, is Bun coming?
Yeah,
because we've already recorded the song, but he's never met me. You know what I'm saying? And he's hoping he gets to meet me, and maybe we can actually do the song together. And from that point on, it's been like a friendship that turned into like we are like a brotherhood. He's He's an amazing.
What was the
brother.
first thing he said to you when he met you?
Met me. Thank you. Thank you. So because he's Canadian, yeah.
Yeah.
And so he's very, as most Canadians are, extremely gracious, right? Very polite, very well mannered, And that was pretty much the first thing I would imagine that I can remember him saying to me was thank you so much, like, for this. And, and he was very, very much reserved back then, right? Because this was all happening extremely fast, right? And he wasn't really sure who to trust or what, what I'm saying? So for me, it's like somebody that, like, I know I can go to you,
Sure.
Whenever I can't kind of figure some of this shit out, like, I just want to make sure I keep an open line of communication with you so that if something doesn't feel right or smell right, just so I can have somebody to bounce some of this shit off of. And it's been a good thing to be able to be that to him. But I haven't had to be that for a while because he's got it now. You know, we just kind of just talk as friends, and he'll ask about the wife and, birthdays. He'll call and reach out, or if he's in town, he'll stop by for birthdays. And Queen will, if he has time, Queen will cook something. Come by the house.
Queen, what's Queen cook from?
They want the fried chicken.
Okay,
they want the fried chicken and the red beans and rice.
Okay.
They want soul food when they come.
Okay. Hey, listen, it's been amazing to see you embrace Drake like that and him embrace you. I mean, like I said, we just explained that. Let's go to somebody else, somebody like Big Crit. What's your relationship like with him?
Again, this is another little brother. It's very few people, I think, now in my life that I'm closer to than Big Crit because of how much time we spent together making this music and actually genuinely caring about each other as people, and me not being afraid to, because I'm making very personal music, right?
Right now, you mean?
Yeah, for the new album. I'm making very personal music, so he's like the person in the room where I'm like, all right, well, this is what I'm going to talk about. You know what I'm saying? And then we record the song, and then we talk about these things in real time as well. And a lot of the things that affect me affect him. A lot of the way I feel about things he feels about, and a lot of the daily struggles that most people go through, myself included, he goes through, And we're all just trying to figure this shit out, And it's good to have other people that you can go to and be honest and open about not having this shit figured out and not, feel like you could potentially be compromised, right? Vulnerability is key for human progression, right? We have to allow ourselves to be vulnerable in order to commune and meet with other people who are vulnerable in our way so that we can walk through those moments of vulnerability together to get to a stronger sense of self. And so, but you can't do that by yourself, living in your mind by yourself, trying to figure it out by yourself, trying to cope by yourself, right? So that's kind of been what we've been able to be to each other. Hawaii Mike is another guy that's been able to be that for me. Pastor John Gray is another person that's been able to be that for me. And I've been blessed to be able to be that for them in a way too, you know? And the only way we help ourselves is by helping each other, And so that's a big part of the shit that I'm trying to get people to understand, you know what I'm saying? Because everybody's dealing with shit late night by themselves and, feel so alone and so out of touch with things and like, I don't know how this shit is really gonna work. Everybody has that night, bad thoughts lead to bad nightmare, bad dreams, nightmares, whatever you want to call them. It's just this very ugly cycle of not being able to rest, and you're constantly worried and stressing about this one thing, and then you're trying to figure out how to hide not only the thing that you're stressing about, but the stress that comes from it, right? So you can present yourself in an image that's, people aren't going to look at you and worry and try to ask questions and dig too deeply into your life. We got to get over that kind of shit, Sure. Because like I don't even talk to you about being depressed or having anxiety, and I talk to you about almost everything that happens in my life. But there's certain things that I didn't know if I needed that to be part of the conversation with them. Not because I don't trust you or anything like that, or I love you. You're a brother of mine. We talk about a lot of stuff, real family shit, real shit. But that was one of the things that I didn't even realize in the moment that I was dealing with, and then. Just based on the people that I'm coming to these levels of awareness with while I'm having these moments of awareness, that's kind of where a deeper bond comes in. And then so I just want that to be a conversation that other people can have with someone, other artists can have with someone. I'm not telling everybody to come and talk to me. Find somebody that you can talk to and that you can be vulnerable with and open and honest about how everything isn't okay all the time. And some days are 70-30, and some days are 50-50, and some days are 2080, you know, or 10-90, and that it's okay because everybody has those days and you don't have to feel alone in those moments, man.
Do you think people are afraid, especially in hip-hop, to talk about issues?
I mean, look at the Sopranos.
Yeah.
Just for example, look at the depths that Tony went to hide the therapy.
Yeah, to get help.
You know, not just to get help, but to hide the therapy.
Sure.
Right? He felt like that would have been the worst thing he could have exposed to people, right? And as soon as they found out Tony was getting therapy, right? The fuck is he talking to you about?
Yeah.
And what the fuck is wrong with him in the head, right?
And they were thinking about almost like...
And it's really not about what are they talking about. It's more what are they telling you about me.
Yeah.
Right? So at the same time, I'm trying to be open and honest about shit, right? But I can't put other people's business out there, and I can't expose their shit, right? At the moment of trying to explain everything, I'm fucked up because of this. I did this to this person, or this person did this to me. But then you got to be careful about putting other people's shit out there because maybe they're not ready to deal with that, right? So you just have to, you know, take as much of what your experience of the moment is, not the, you know, not the entire situation that everybody is involved, but what you're dealing with because of that situation.
Sure. But it's good to see that Crit is been that for you. I remember one time you saying something that he reminds you of. I don't know if he said Pimp or I don't know. I mean,
he reminds me of me and Pimp. He reminds me a bit of Andre. I see a little big boy. Yeah. I see a lot of where his influence comes from. You know what I'm saying? He reminds me of Pimp in the fact of how melodic he is and how deep of a student he is of music and music theory, right? So it's not just about trying to find a nice loop or something. He understands in music. He wants to be, you know, a producer, not just a guy that makes beats. He aspires to contribute as much as possible to the culture, right? Not just the industry. We all contribute to the industry, but we don't all necessarily contribute to the culture, you know? So there's a conscious effort to do that.
Been in this game 20 plus years. You collab with so many different people.
25 years.
Is 25 fucking damn. Is there somebody that you always wanted to work with who you haven't worked with yet?
Yeah, it's Dre.
Dr. Dre.
Yeah, that's it. That's I mean that's obviously that's the tip of the pyramid, right? That's the top of the totem pole, right? So that means that I've gotten to the second to the I've gotten as high up as you can get, right? The only higher I could possibly get is to stand next to the people at the top. So I think that's a pretty good career, right? If I only got to the second tier and there's 100 tiers, I think I did pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, listen, from a group UGK to even yourself, even your solo projects. If you think you ever feel like you're underrated as an artist, and the reason why I say that for is because you can look at your albums that you drop; they could be considered classics. I mean, one of them got a five mic.
Yeah.
Source. But sometimes people they look at something they can't move on from UGK or a solo artist. You think about it like it's hard to move from a group to.
It's funny because we were actually when Ego Trip did a book of rap lists, Elliot and the guys they did the book of rap lists.
Shouts to Elliot.
And we were the number one most they voted UGK the number one most underrated group in hip hop. But when I talk to my peers and I'm around my fan base, I've never felt underrated or underappreciated, right? Like artists go out of their way to let me know how much of an influence I've been able to be to them. And it's been a blessing to have that in my life. Because guys don't have to do that. And we're talking about some of the biggest artists ever, right? Saying like, yeah, man, listening to y'all and what y'all were talking about was a big deal.
Who's somebody that said something to you that made you feel like, damn, man, I'm out here moving? Because sometimes you get solidified by, not solidified, but meaning like, you're like, damn, man, like, that's dope. Like, like.
I think Lil Wayne once said in an interview that I showed him how to be a lyricist. And I guess there's room for that, I mean, I'm just seeing very raw, very young talent and just trying to make sure that the people that are around that talent give it the room to breathe and shape and form. So I had a really very strong and still have a very strong relationship with Baby. So in the
Fuck. Go ahead.
so
No, because then I thought of something. Go ahead.
calm down. No, but so Baby, that was one thing. He came to me. He was like, "Bruh, this little dude is cold with it, bruh. How do I keep him cold? Like, how do I keep him in the frame of mind and getting better and better?" And I won't say what I told him because I don't want to just give away the formula. But every artist needs an environment that they can grow in, and it was just about letting him know if you want him to be this, then he needs to be able to do this, this, and this, and it all needs to be centered around this.
Sure.
And so that was something that, and he was so young at the time, right? He was like 15 years old, so I didn't know how much of those early days he remembered. But when it came back to people like, not just who do you credit as a great rapper, but when you look back at and how you get to where you are, like that was one of the things that he was like, Bun B was really there, like trying to help me, to be a lyricist.
Speaking of Cash Money,
Okay,
Bun B almost signed to Cash Money.
this is true. Bun B almost signed to a lot of people.
But Cash Money, how the fuck did that happen?
Well, because first of all, people probably don't remember this, but before the Universal deal, I was one of the only artists that wasn't signed to Cash Money that was on the projects. Mm-hmm. And even with the big timers, like big timers, as the first inception of the big timers was Manny and Baby, and they were wanting me to be in the big timers as well because, I'd spend a lot of time with those dudes. I would spend weeks with them in New Orleans and just watch them. I remember, when they met Manny, the same night I met them was when they met Manny Fresh as far as talking business. And I remember when we went to the show, we had the show there, the show somewhere, and Juvenile was there, and they talked to Juvenile about coming on the team and his first record with Miss T. And then back when, like, Wayne and BG were like, 12 and 13, 14 years old, and they were the BGs, and then the BGs ended up partnering with Juvenile and then Turk, who was a relative, and then that became, BG was a relative, and then Turk coming in and becoming the Hot Boys and watching all this shit happen and the $1 million deals and these huge mansions and all this shit, man.
Cars and
crazy, man. This shit was crazy.
Juvenile had every yellow fucking car, yellow fucking PT, yellow Lamborghini, yellow fucking
everything. But the yellow everything, that wasn't even their car in High. Everybody thought that was their Ferrari in High. That wasn't their Ferrari in High. That was this kid from that was who used to be with Biz. That was his Ferrari.
So did Baby want to sign you, or how did that not happen? How did that wind up not happening?
Because Pimp had always said, the first people to ever sign us was Rap-A-Lot. One that ever wanted to sign us as a group was Rap-A-Lot, take us away from the independent label we were from. And, Pimp was really forward thinking on this. He was like, if we go to Rap-A-Lot, they got to do Ghetto Boys, then Scarface, then Convicts, and then there's all these groups, and then they get to us. So we'll be number 8 on that list. And if we go over here, they got to get to this person, that person, that person. We don't want, first of all, you don't want to work for your friends. That's never good. And then 2, we should just be working to be like them so we could be number 1 on our roster as opposed to fighting for position on somebody else's roster. So we didn't want to get out of one bad deal to get into another one, And it was funny because I was propositioned by every record company you could think of, particularly the black-owned companies, when Pimp got locked up, because Jive was ready to kind of cut ties at that point. They turned down my solo album. There was a clause.
Why did they turn that down?
They didn't believe in me as an artist. They were like, Pimp was the genius behind UGK because he did the music. He was kind of the identity in their eyes, and they thought I was just a rapper over there. So they had no faith in me as a solo artist.
How hard was that when he passed away for you to become a solo artist? Like, meaning, like, people see you, they see you out here, you're doing things, but personally, those days, take us through that time where, did you ever think about not doing this shit?
Yeah, there were times during the career while he was locked up, a lot of, self-doubt, about these kind of things, and self-doubt turns into self-pity, right? So you got to be careful of that, and if you're not, if you don't have a good, solid base spiritually and mentally, then it's very easy to lose sense of self and to lose track of where you need to be and misprioritize and all those things. And the other side of it is trying not to take on more than you need to, right? Initially trying to, every time somebody says something bad about Pimp C, trying to, go all out on it and trying to, spend every waking moment of every day trying to do honor to something, and it becomes very stressful and daunting for you as an individual. And yeah, there were definitely days I could tell you, man, where I hit very, very low points in my life, some of the lowest points ever, especially emotionally and spiritually,
Yeah. What's the most important thing you think you learned from Pimp's life? Just his
to
presence.
to live life.
Yeah.
More than anything, to live life, right? Because you have no idea when you're going to go, right? You literally have no idea when you're going to go. And so you have to appreciate everything that's available to you, and you have to love everyone that's around you, and you have to tell them that, and you have to take advantage of those moments that can be great for you. You know what I'm saying? And stop worrying about what'll happen and what and I'm not talking about if you fuck over somebody, like, but if you just to take time to just back up from everything and everyone else and just start living life and like, you know what, I'm not finna do this right now. I'm finna, I'm Justin Bieber. I don't want to go on tour anymore. I need my life back. I want my life back. That kind of shit is important. And anybody that questions you during moments of trying to take your life back is only mad because they had a part of your life and now they realize they're not going to have it anymore,
Yeah. Have you accomplished everything that you want?
Not even close.
Okay. What's left to do?
I think that, there's a lot left to be said. I think I know more than I've been able to get out, right? There's a lot of information that I was restricting myself to only giving to people like in an interview or in a song, right? So now I try to do a lot more panels. I try to do a lot more discussions. I'm trying to do a lot more public speaking. I'm trying to have a lot more conversations with people. But I don't think that the best thing about me is going to be like a rap song, right? I think that, being able to teach at Rice University and perform with the...
So you're a professor there?
Yeah, and perform with the Houston Symphony for the 100th anniversary of the ADL, things like that, right? Those are the kind of moments that I'm looking for.
Bun B Day?
Bun B Day,
What day is that?
August 30th.
Look at that. The mayor, what was that mayor's name?
Undies Parker.
Man, that was one of the trillest.
America's first openly gay mayor of a major metropolitan city.
She was a sweetheart.
She's very good. I actually went. She's teaching at Harvard and the Kennedy Law Center. So she brought me up to speak to her class after doing the Vice stuff to talk about politics and stuff.
She's dope. It's
an amazing space.
Speaking of Trill, didn't somebody buy that, like a young kid? Didn't he buy like the copyright? And I think like he gave it. All he wanted was like an autograph.
So there was a kid in the, I want to say the Bay Area or something. There was a kid many years ago that had bought the rights to Trill, right? Mm-hmm. Because it was he basically saw all these different hip hop terms, right, that people were trying to pick up. And so he had fans, like he was a fan of E40, he was a fan of mine. So he was going out and getting these intellectual properties and then offering them to the artist for free. Didn't want anything for it. Kid just literally was like I own Trill. Like, I know I know you may be upset about it, but only reason I bought the rights to it was so that you guys could have it. Like, I bought it to give it to you. I don't want to sell it to you. I want to give it to you. I just would like to meet you. You know what I'm saying? And talk to you and then give you the stuff. So, I don't know if you remember, we were at South by Southwest on the street, and I parked on the street and hopped out and just met this kid in the middle of South by Southwest. And kid shook my hand, handed me the envelope with the paperwork, right? Signed it over to me, like on the streets of Austin. I think it was on 5th Street, like right by I-10. And signed over the rights to it, man. It was like, and I didn't even understand the, intellectual properties and all of that kind of stuff. But then once we got that, we went and got the UGK, we went and got Underground Kings and all of that kind of stuff. So, early on, we were very upset about people using the term because my thing is, there's one thing between young people rapping about it and want to be associated with it. And there's another thing from an older individual that knows the history, right? Like, if you're 25, then you probably don't know where that word came from. But if you're 35, you might know where that word came from. And if you're 45, you goddamn well know where that word came from. So younger people that were like from the city, like the Trill City guys, young kids from the city, they didn't really know much about the word. They didn't know the history of the word. I had to tell them about it. And then Like, they were like upset, like, yo, you fronting us for using this and that. And I'm like, no, I'm just trying to help you understand this. And literally maybe 6 months later, one of their designs got taken by like Hudson off Forever 21. And then they called me like, yo, how do we stop this kind of stuff? And it's just this whole life of the cease and desist. And we've had people that have bastardized it, and we're trying to rectify that situation. But the best way to stop people from monetizing your brand is to make sure that you're monetizing it.
Sure.
And that was what was so crazy about it, I think, for us, is because of the fact that we didn't ever try to make money off and exploit it. And then to see other people doing it and exploiting it and making money and not even trying to acknowledge where it came from it was too much.
Yeah.
I mean, look what they did to YOLO.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, so just a matter of reappropriating everything and rebranding. And now we have different merchandise, like what I'm wearing right now, to Make America Trill Again. Shout out to Southside Collection. That's where you can get it at, SouthsideCollection.com. And it's just about, like I said, reappropriating and reprioritizing,
And let's get back to what's next for you. You said,
got the EP coming out. EP's coming.
What's the name of it?
Name of it is Make. We were going to call it EP. We just had like a placeholder because we didn't really know what to call it. So we're calling it like EP, extended play. But now I think Make America Trill Again is probably going to be the name of this project, because that's really what I'm trying to do. That's the end game for all of this, right?
And when is it dropping?
That's the crazy thing, which I kept putting myself to a date, September 1st, and then now I'm just like trying not to live like that. Like, we're in an age now that if you give people a couple of weeks heads up,
sure,
they'll be looking for it.
Any features?
So, on this one, yes. On the album that's going to come at the top of the year, Bernard, that's going to be my solo album, probably won't have many rap features, if any at all.
Yeah.
But on this one, yeah, I've definitely got some features. Got Slim Thug, got Kiki. I'm working on getting this song with Killer Callejon on it. A couple other songs, because I don't really know what's all going to go on. Like, as of today, I know that we're going to do 7 or 8 songs. I couldn't really tell you all 7 or 8 because we're still doing music. We're still constantly recording. I just did 2 new songs in Canada, one featuring this new kid, Free who's really good. And so we're like, right now we're at 50 songs, and we know they're not all going to go. Yeah, we know they're not going to go all on the album. So Queenie was like, "Look, you got all these songs, you can't put them all on the album. You got these features, you're not really going to put a bunch of features on the album. So just throw something out right quick, let people know you're coming. You don't have to stress over that one project. Just put something out there now. It'll relieve the stress because you'll have music out. You'll get some feedback. You'll know that you're going in the right direction, and you can more fine tune the album now because you're gonna have less songs to pick from anyway." So
I said this before to a couple artists. Some were friends, some weren't. But there's no 401k. I mean, you can make your own, but there's no 401k, there's no retirement, no pension plan for a fucking rapper. What they do is make tracks and make tracks and make tracks. Right. And what that is, that's your will.
Right.
Because with that, I mean, you look at somebody like Bernadette Price, Sean Price's wife, rest in peace, Sean P. She was able to make an album, Imperious Rex, and drop that because of the songs he made. So the more songs you make, you're literally leaving a will. I don't know if you ever thought of it.
It's she'll tell you she hates to really talk about it, but it's a conscious effort, right, to make sure that there's extra music, because my wife can't create what I've created, right, to pay the bills, and I don't want that to be a worry. But the other side of that, Pete, is that we can't just make the music. We have to educate the family on the finances. We have to educate the family on publishing and royalty rates and all of this kind of stuff, so that they know what we're leaving them is worth, right? And that's why most families fight over what's left. Either because they don't know the value of it, right? They think everything's worth a bunch of money, right? When you leave songs around, they think this shit is worth more than maybe it is, and maybe they don't know the difference between doing an EP and an album. Really, only you're gonna add 8-10 more songs and only make $2 more. You know what I'm saying? So just being smart, not only about having music, but also what they need to do with the music. Should I be gone? Who they can trust to guide them through this when I'm gone, all these things. And so my wife comes to the meetings. I don't hide money from my wife. I don't hide business deals. My wife knows what we make. She knows what we got. That's important. She needs to know that, because so many people die and then families realize they don't have what they thought they had,
Or they don't get a chance to tell them that there's money in the wall. You know what I mean? Like, or they hit.
There's something over it.
Look at Tony.
With Queenie, a big thing for me is letting her know which of these sneakers have value.
Exactly.
So that somebody doesn't come in and get all the good shit and try to give her X
Because
amount.
both of you are hoarders.
Yeah.
Now, even you look at like Tony Soprano, he hid all that money in the fucking. Who knows?
Who
if
even knows?
Who knows if anybody got it? You think about that. You remember that money you used to put with the bird seeds, and it's crazy. Anyway, murder. People consider murder one of your best
verses. That's
Where
fair.
the fuck were you when that happened, and how did you know that was like?
So for years, Pimp had been telling people Bun B is the best rapper ever. Nobody can beat Bun B. I got $100,000 cash anytime anybody want to battle him anywhere. And my problem was that we didn't have any music that reflected that, right? All of our music was, songs with content, stories, and, specific messages being delivered. Nothing was really just an exercise in lyricism, right? That wasn't necessarily what we did. So I told him, like, yo, eventually you telling everybody I can rap, nigga. Eventually you're going to have to make me a record that shows people I can rap. So Murder became that record. So when we did the song, I went out like the night before, so I was fucked up when we did Murder. So
drinking?
Might have been syrup and shit too at that
Really?
time, probably, if I had to think, maybe. Probably. It would have been the early days of syrup, because that's the manger days, right? This is me living in the manger for Murder. This is Riding Dirty.
No, you recorded that in the house in Port Arthur. I remember listening to it in my sleep.
But I'm saying when the music come out. But no, because no.
When it came
Yeah, well, Murder, when it came out, we was in Port Arthur. But I recorded that at Skip Holman and Katie, remember? At that studio, with N.O. Joe brought us to that first studio. And,
I said, oh, yeah.
See,
Right.
See,
You know what I'm saying?
See, First Queen was the memory for you losing it, and now
Well, she's thinking about like the where I was living when Riding Dirty came out,
okay.
as opposed to where we were when we recorded it. Because I literally met Queenie the day we got the mastered mix of the album. Like I went
Of
to my
Riding
homie's
Dirty.
house. Yeah, I went to my homie's house to play it, and she was there. But that's another story. That's another podcast.
Forget about it.
But so I go in, I'm fucked up, and I go to the studio, and like they're still dumping the track and all the instruments and tracking the song out, which back then took a while. Took a lot longer than it does now. So I went to sleep, like right where see this little area right here that you have under this table right here, this little desk.
Yep.
That's how the board was, and it had space underneath. So I literally crawled underneath that shit and like went to sleep. And then they woke me up when the beat was ready. So I woke up, I wrote the rhyme, I went in, I did it in 2 takes. As I did, I wanted it to go all the way through with my breath. I didn't want so Riding Dirty is one of the first rap albums recorded in Pro Tools. Most people don't know that. We recorded at this guy Skip Holman's house, who had one of the largest sound libraries in the world, and did a lot of commercial work. So he had shown N.O. Joe this new way of recording directly into a computer, save time on vocals, all this stuff, instead of rewinding tapes, all that goofy shit. So we were out there with that. So I got up, and so we're in the computer, and this is literally when they're like, you don't have to go all the way to the beginning. We can punch you in right where you stopped and make it seamless. But I'm a lyricist, and my thing is, whatever this rhyme that I'm finally getting to write and rap, that is supposed to be the definition of my lyrical ability, I can't use a studio trick for that, because I'm gonna want to have to replicate that. I'm gonna want to do that again, right, and be able to say that rhyme just like I said it on there. So the first time I did it, I messed up like probably 24 bars in, and they were like, "You can stop. We'll pick you up from there." I was like, "Nah, fuck that." So we went back, and I got it all on the second take, and then I went back to sleep.
Hey, listen, it's known as one of your best verses ever. People,
It is.
people consider you a murderer on that.
That was the rhyme that I wanted to. I actually wrote the rhyme that I wanted to write that day. And you don't always do that, right? Sometimes you hit some good bars. Sometimes you close it out. Sometimes you come out
How the
crazy.
fuck do you do that? Because I've seen you. We came up actually in Engine Room Studios. Young Buck called us up. I was in the studio.
Right.
You went upstairs, right? I sat down on the couch, and they were all smoking or whatever. And you fucking went on your iPhone. I mean, you didn't have an iPhone back then. But I'm saying you went on your iPhone, just started writing.
Yeah, it was an iPhone back there. Probably was at the 7. Probably would have been a 4 or 5 or something. But yeah, I started writing all my rhymes in my notes so that I could keep them up, because otherwise it's a bunch of paper. You know what I'm saying?
So you write. So you think right off the top of the head.
Yeah.
Right, and then go in the booth.
Yeah. I
But-
write everything in real
but
time.
how do you
I don't keep any.
But
I
how do
don't-
you calm your mind? Because keep in mind, right now I'm thinking, we're sitting here and we're doing this, but I'm also thinking about something, maybe something else. So you may have something on your mind. Our minds are clogged sometimes. How do
Right.
you clear your mind to write a verse?
I don't even, at this stage, I don't even need that much of my mental capacity to do that. Right? It's at this point, it's mental muscle memory, if that makes any sense. Right? It's just something that my mind is trained to do in a way that it could do it almost. I mean, if my hands could work by themselves, my body would write rhymes involuntarily. You know what I'm saying? It's just a natural process of how my mind works throughout the day. I wouldn't say I necessarily write rhymes in my head through the day, but I always think of different cadences. I think of different syllable breakdowns all the time.
What about vocabulary? How did you get so good at vocabulary?
Reading that Encyclopedia Britannica.
Thanks to Bobs.
We were talking about. You
Yo,
know what I'm saying?
yeah, you know
because
what-
I read everyone, cover to cover.
Really?
Yeah, every book in my bedroom I read. Cover to cover.
It's crazy to me because I think that some people, unfortunately, and it's sad to hear sometimes, like when they hear you and you've been on the news, CNN, you've done a bunch of stuff with Vice, you're doing political stuff. I mean, you professor. I think when people hear you who don't know you like that,
Right.
like, wow, Bun B's a smart fucking guy. Well, he's even look like somebody like Killer Mike. People look at this guy as a rapper, as a big guy. His name's Killer Mike. When you hear that fucking guy talk, I mean, it's like this is smart people.
Yeah, and it took a while for me to get to the point where, and I'm still working on that, where my music is a pure, full reflection of who I am. My music didn't always need to be that, right? People didn't need to necessarily know everything about me. People just wanted to know how I moved in certain scenarios, right? So that was all I needed to tell people, how I moved in the hood, how I moved making money, how I hustled, how I made the music, right? That was the dynamic in life that people wanted to know about. It was my job to bring those other elements of myself into my music to kind of level the playing field and make that connection deeper with people.
Yeah. Man, it's crazy. Hey, as we wind this episode down, Beyonce hits up Slim Thug and you for the Check On It remix?
Yes.
How did that happen?
Matthew knows. Like, her and her father was like, we want to make sure that we touch, we have an opportunity and an outlet right now, and it'd be nice to be able to give a little, back to the artists in the city. And it's not like we're not doing anything. Like, this is when all the H-Town artists are killing it. Mike Jones is double platinum. Slim Thug.
Yo, where is Mike Jones, man? Who?
He's around.
Mike Jones.
Who?
Mike Jones.
He's around. You can call him. 281-330.
Fuck. Are you still cool?
Married.
What?
I think he's staying in Atlanta.
He lives in Atlanta.
He lives in Atlanta?
Yeah, I see him all the time. Like,
Remember we were on the where were we? We were in and he was in another dressing room, I think. Where the fuck were we?
was
Remember
that here?
the Coors Light shit? We were with
That would have been in what city was that?
I think we were in DC or something. Or I don't even know.
He was around that day.
I think but nobody has seen him in a while. What happened to Mike Jones?
He just
man?
moved out of Houston. That's why most people don't see him where they see everybody else from that time.
All right,
but he's he's more private, I think, than he and Chamillionaire kind of fall back and come back.
Yeah.
Chamillionaire less than everybody because he's out there making millions in Silicon Valley. But Chamillionaire's trying to be the Black Warren Buffett. Get this kind of information and then bring it back to the culture and help educate the culture on how to really move from getting paid to getting rich to becoming wealthy. That's Chamillionaire's dream, is to help hip hop people set themselves
Sure,
up. Sure,
outside of hip hop too.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
And that's important too because everybody's doing hip hop. Everybody's
we need that.
You know what I mean? So
we need those, and we need those individuals, right? We need people that from hip hop that are able to transcend and able to get in different places and see different things to bring that information back. That's what hip hop was always supposed to be about.
Sure, and learn teaching hip hop and religion and Rice as you do as a professor.
Shout out to Dr. Penn.
Big Dr. Penn in the building. What they don't do is they don't do credit. They don't do mortgage classes. They don't do entrepreneur classes. And I think that we need more of that really just to learn. You know?
Russ was trying to do that series. Russell Simmons had that series for a couple of years where he was going on, from city to city about financial empowerment, teaching people how to get ready to prepare taxes and all of that. But I mean, we got to start that younger, right? And the problem is that we as adults, we don't take taxes and all of that seriously and credit it until we get audited. We don't really think about credit until we need it. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
So it's just a matter of having those conversations earlier within the community.
Finish I cut you off with Mike Jones. Who?
Mike Jones.
With Beyonce. You said her father wanted to do something.
So he called out and just try to, find these different places where he could insert us into that Destiny Child or, Beyonce world. And God bless him for that.
How big was that record?
Oh, it was huge. The Pink, just, first of all, it was a movie soundtrack song. And actually, there was no soundtrack. There was just that one song for the movie. And, Steve Martin is like a fucking god to me in the comedy world. So just knowing that I'm going to be associated with him and Inspector Clouseau and that kind of... Because Peter Sellers was like, like you said, a chameleon. He was one of those guys, You look at Inspector Clouseau and then look at Dr. Strangelove. But, it was beautiful to be appreciated, right? And Beyonce is just a beautiful, beautiful individual inside and out and just so humble and so courteous and, made us all feel so welcome in the space. And we never felt like we were with, one of the biggest stars in the world and nothing like that. She took us all in and continues to, always bring us in. She brought us back for another song. She brought us on, put all the Houston rappers.
What was that?
On a remix of
her album.
Goddamn, what was that song called, Queen? That she put everybody on. It was something about the Queen is back, the bitches, something about bitches.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's fucked up for me. My bad, B. But she's a beautiful person and a great opportunity, and shout out to her and Hove and Blue and the Twins.
Yeah. Hey, listen. As we wind this episode down,
God.
we keep on saying this.
Yeah,
shit.
I know Roberta's going crazy.
So what's next? What's next for you? You said the album. Anything else?
Yeah. So I know that Queen is working on some festivities around Bun B weekend. So that's going to be interesting. The EP coming in hopefully by late September. The Bernard album coming probably in March. I would love to have it drop around my birthday. You know what I'm saying? And have like a birthday party where everybody, my birthday parties usually be at South by Southwest. You know what I'm saying? Around that time, because South by is going on around that time. So it'd be good to, and I haven't done one in a while at South by, so it'd be fun to do that again.
Now, would you ever think about opening a record label? Just for having a good ear for music, good ear for talent?
It's a lot of trouble. Like, it's a lot of trouble, with, I'm an artist. I'm moody than a motherfucker sometimes. I would hate to get a call from me at 3 a.m. Like, it's never a good call. And people are into a whole lot of other shit. And to be honest, it's a lot easier for an artist to do it on his own nowadays. A lot of them just don't want to. And I know that by how many people just constantly hand me demos and all of that. And I'm like, how many of these did you bring? Like, I just wanted to make sure I brought one to you. I'm like, yeah, but everybody in here loves music. Like, that's why they're here. You didn't do anything to do that. Like, I remember going to a music festival in Atlanta, and we're walking to the festival, and some dudes are selling water, right? Like, that's it, which is a good festival hustle, right? And so when they see me, they're like, yo, Bun B, here's my CD. And I was like, yo, how many of these have you passed out? Just for you, if we see artists. I'm like, how many bottles of water have you sold, though? Like, shit, I don't know, man. We don't like the 6 case. I'm like, imagine if you gave a CD to everybody you sold a bottle of water to. You probably have as many fans as you selling water right now. But you're so worried about me. And now I got your music for free, Yeah. But they're going to be the ones that come to clubs, follow you on these social media sites and buy your T-shirts and shit like that. Like, you're missing the moment. You're missing the real opportunity here. You know what I'm saying? And it's just like, and it's like, damn, we didn't even think of it like that. And I don't think most artists think of it like that. And again, that's easy for me to say after 25 years of being in the industry.
Of having knowledge.
So now I know that there's a lot that they need from me. So that's kind of what this new music is about. I'm trying to make it as personal about me, but not make it about me.
Sure.
Right? Like giving up everything I got for the greater good. That's a moral obligation.
I think it's going to be a beautiful thing. I think it's going to be a beautiful thing. Last thing.
Yeah.
Big Pimpin'.
Yes.
How crazy was that video shoot? How crazy was everything involved around that? Is there anything that you take away that you think of that was crazy? That like
the craziest thing about it wasn't it wasn't flying to Trinidad. It wasn't having $1 million budget. It wasn't. And the craziest thing about that was the turnaround.
In what sense?
So we went to Trinidad, right? We went to Trinidad I went for 2 days. They shot for 3 days because I missed the first flight. Then we come back to Miami. We have to set up a whole special shoot because Pimp never went to Trinidad at all. So we had to set up a whole. He was busy.
Yeah. Okay.
He was busy. I hate to keep saying different stories and bring, but I mean, this was before he was with his wife, so she can't. I don't know if she can really get mad about it. But he was, like, Pimp was the star of the video, and they had hired Gloria Velez to be like the main video girl, and neither one of them showed up to the video shoot because they were locked up together in Miami. So they ended up having to bring the video to Miami. But the craziest thing was the turnaround. So we literally shot the final day of shooting on a Monday. The video was edited and cut by Wednesday. And it was the first rap video for making the video for MTV. So they started running the commercials by like Wednesday night, Thursday morning, and debuted a 30-minute show and a brand new video. And because they shot the whole making the video in Miami for the pickup with Pimp. They shot the whole episode there. And then cut all of that shit together and debuted that video Friday night on MTV, like 7 o'clock.
Just like that.
Just like that. I mean, they put... I'd never seen a machine move so fast. Like, I'd never seen that. Like, it normally takes weeks. You got back then, you had to get the video back. You had to service it. It had to get in the system, all of that. If you were special, they try to find. No, this thing, that video, we yelled cut on Monday at like 7 o'clock, and Friday at 7 o'clock, it was a 30-minute TV special on MTV.
That's crazy. How many bottles of champagne were there?
Not much. It was actually the Hennessy was the problem that day.
Really?
Yeah. Well, for us, Dame drank a whole bottle of champagne. That's why Dame almost drowned that day. Like, because he was getting fucked up and like, so like, I remember that like on the boat, they were saying that like on the video, you see him pour the champagne on the camera. And it's like, they had to tell him like, B, we know you like got enough money to pay for this camera, but don't prove it. You know what I'm saying? Like, don't do it. And then like in Miami in the water, he was like, drinking, and then he took somebody's sunglasses, and then like they had a scene where the girls were, the slow motion bikini running on the beach was the shot, and out of nowhere he just runs and tackles the girls into the fucking ocean, and literally starts swallowing water. Like he comes out throwing up water. You remember that shit? And he lost whoever's glasses those was in the ocean, just done.
What the fuck?
And if you look at the end of the video, he's like on the couch. And that's literally him passed out from being like piss drunk at like 5 o'clock, 5:30.
5:30 in the afternoon. Listen, the legendary Dame Dash. But listen,
God bless
I
Dame.
appreciate you sitting down, just
Dame
going
Dash gave me my first sneaker.
Really?
God bless Dame Dash.
What was that?
The Pro Cats.
Oh, really?
I had 3 shoes. I had the Pimp C, I had the Astros colorway, and I can't remember what the third colorway was, but God bless Dame.
Hey, listen.
Blessings on your family.
We don't have enough.
Oh yeah, the black with the
We
gray.
don't have enough time to go over the fucking whole journey. I just want to say quickly. I want to say that I'm just so proud of you as a brother. I mean, you grew up in Houston, grew up in Port Arthur, able to have friends with the Houston Rockets owner. Like the things I've been able to see, you do. I have
Well, we don't even know who the owner of the Rockets is right now.
Well, I'm talking about, but I'm saying just the baseball guy who owns the baseball.
Jim Crane.
But I'm saying you're friends with these guys. Did you ever think? You know what I'm saying? Like this is a guy that grew up. Okay, you could just be considered hip hop. Even that back then could be said, just a rapper. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, I mean that's if I put myself in that box and I leave myself in that box, then that'll be the only way people ever come at me. And just being, having a great wife, a great church, a strong belief in God, amazing management, and people that aren't scared to test me on things and push me. Doors continue to open, opportunities continue to arise. It's a blessed life, man.
Listen, you're always around some fucking crazy people. This is my last story. We were hanging out. You introduced me to the founders of Members Only, the jacket.
Right.
And then all
Billy.
of a sudden, yeah.
What up, Billy?
And then all of a sudden you said, listen, there's a guy who's going to come here, a Russian guy. Okay, but the only thing is he's missing a thumb. So I was like, well, what the fuck?
He's finished. Actually.
You said the guy fucking.
He lost a thumb.
He lost it
He lost a thumb to a Russian. playing poker.
Playing poker.
Yeah.
So I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? All of a sudden, you're like, here he comes. And then the guy puts, and you introduced me to like, hey, this is my friend Pete. And then he fucking shakes my hand with his nub. I'm like, what the fuck is
And that's my whole thing, right? Because the hand's going to come at you, right? And it's not going to have a thumb attached. So you're not going to be able to shake this hand like you think. It's going to be, right? See, a light just went off in his head, right? Like, imagine the hand with no thumb trying to shake it, right? It's fucking crazy. You can't just move this to do it. You can't just move your thumb down. No, like he had no thumb. So when you move in for the shake, it's going to be smooth, G. It's going to be smooth. So don't go to the forearm, Pete. You got to stop. Stop at the knuckles. You can't go all the way up.
Listen, Bun, I'm looking forward to this EP. I'm looking forward to the album. I'm looking forward to everything you're doing.
I'm looking forward to more podcasts.
Of course, man. I appreciate you. I love you. You're a great brother, and not only just as a friend, I appreciate all your contributions to the culture because you really give people that big brother feel, that uncle feel, and I just appreciate you.
Thank you, Pete, man. Likewise.
Internet's Bun B. Cheer.